Some say reading books has become a luxury for most. As we start to have families and take on responsibilities in life, it's a challenge to find time for reading. In fact, research shows that a huge percentage of people will never read a book again after graduating college. And that's a sad fact, especially now that we have a short attention span because of our modern technology. Reading books can have a profound impact in your life if you apply what you learn from them. And in this video, we will talk about the 6 books that changed my life and my way of thinking, and it could change yours too. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. This is not the typical self-help book that will tell you to visualize what you want to become so you can actualize that goal. In fact, this book will tell you the opposite. We're living in a world where success, glamour, and material things are shown for everyone to see on the internet, specifically social media. You, ladies and gentlemen, know this very well. We put unrealistic expectations on ourselves, and if we fail, we get depressed. This book taught me that it's okay to suck at things. There will be things that I'm never going to be good at no matter how hard I try. I can practice basketball all day, but I'm never gonna be Michael Jordan. It's not going to happen because I don't have the genetics to jump as high as him. The key to a good life is not giving a fuck about more. It's giving a fuck about less. Giving a fuck about only what is true and immediate and important. However, don't think that this book teaches you to just give up on your dreams. It's not about that. It's about accepting your limitations and your flaws as a human being, failing at things you pursue and still being okay with it. It seems to me that this is a modern-day Stoic book. A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Whenever I feel down and think life sucks, I try to remember this book. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist who survived the Auschwitz concentration camp during the Nazi regime. When they arrived in Auschwitz, every prisoner was stripped bare of their possessions and were called by the numbers that were tattooed on their arms. So imagine being a prisoner at the time. Your life was irrelevant. Your name and education didn't matter. They were forced to do labor work under freezing conditions without proper clothing and enough food. They were tortured, and Viktor Frankl witnessed the worst human conditions that you could ever imagine. He who has a why to live for can almost bear any how. During his imprisonment, he saw 2 types of prisoners. One who has given up in life, and another who continued on living because they have a purpose and meaning. Frankl discovered that to continue to live, one has to find meaning in life, whatever circumstances you're in. Even being in a Nazi concentration camp, where chances of survival was very low. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. This is a short book written by George Clason in parable form that taught me an invaluable lesson about money. Wealth, like a tree, grows from a tiny seed. The first copper you save is the seed from which your tree of wealth shall grow. The story takes place in ancient Babylon, which was known to be one of the most powerful and wealthiest cities of its time. The protagonist, Arkad, shares financial lessons to a group of men who were struggling financially. Despite being an old book, its teachings are timeless and still relevant today. I learned from this book to spend less than I earn, save and invest for the future. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is another book that is very popular in the financial education realm. In the book, Kiyosaki shares the financial lessons he learned from his rich dad. Whether Rich Dad is real or not, the book teaches financial lessons which are unconventional for most. Why is that? Because our educational system taught us to study hard, get good grades, so we can work for a company that has good benefits and earn good wages and retire. However, Kiyosaki argues that the rich don't work for money. They make their money work for them. The majority of the people likes to buy things to keep up with the Joneses. For instance, if we see travel pictures of our friends on social media, it makes us want to travel as well, or even buy fancy things that we don't really need. And this is one of the reasons why many people are struggling financially. Kiyosaki said that instead of buying things that depreciates in value like cars, boats, luxury bags, smartphones, what have you, if the goal is to be financially independent, it's better to buy income-generating assets like stocks, real estate, and having a business. However, not all of us have the same opportunities in life. I grew up in a developing country and we were struggling financially at the time. This is not to say that it's impossible to be financially independent in situations like those. Many people have done it. In life, you just have to do the best you can with what you have. Playing the victim role, blaming your parents, the government, or the system is not going to get you anywhere. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. Shoe Dog is a memoir by Phil Knight, the co-founder and the former CEO of Nike, the shoe company. What makes this book compelling is not just the story of Nike's growth, but also the personal journey of its founder. After graduating in college, he has this crazy idea to build a shoe business that even his father was reluctant to support. In the book, Phil Knight is honest about his flaws and shortcomings, from his struggle with anxiety and self-doubt to his complicated relationships with his family and colleagues. This book shows that great things can't be done overnight. There will be struggles and self-doubts, and you will even feel like quitting. Let everyone else call your idea crazy. Just keep going. Don't stop. Don't even think about stopping until you get there. And don't give much thought to where there is. Whatever comes, just don't stop. So you might be worrying that your friends or relatives will call you crazy for starting that YouTube channel or building a business. One thing I learned is to just ignore these people. The majority is doing almost the same thing. And if anyone calls you crazy or mocks you for trying something new, usually it's their insecurities because they don't have the guts to try it themselves, and by mocking you, they make themselves feel better. The majority likes to coast in life, have fun, and party, and if you follow this, you will get the same results. I'm not saying this is bad, but if you want to do something different, then you have to think for yourself. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I would say this is one of the most powerful books I've ever read. It is the private journal of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. It's a good book to start with if you want to learn about Stoic philosophy. He wrote in this book his own personal reflections on how to live a good life. What made this book interesting is it's only for his personal use. He never intended to publish this book to be read by anyone else. Fortunately, it somehow survived and made it to the publication for us to read. In this book, he constantly reminded himself of his own mortality. Everything we possess, we acquire in life, we achieve, the status or position we get, at the end, it's not gonna matter because we're all going to die. I know it sounds depressing for most, but the point here is to live in the moment and be a good human being while we have the time and not put too much value in material possessions because we can't take it with us when we die. The most important takeaway from this book for me is the acceptance of death. My friends, my family, my coworkers will someday die, and I will too. By meditating on this thought, it makes me value more the limited time that we have in this world. What are the books that changed your life and your way of thinking? Leave a comment down below and I'll add it to my reading list. And if you get some value, please click or tap that like button and consider subscribing. And I'll see you on the next one.